What's up, everyone? Driving into the shop right now, and we have one of my friend's bows that just got delivered. We're still in the middle of this COVID crap, and limited hours, appointment only in the shop. But what I'm bringing right now is gonna make one of my friends really, really excited. We've got a bow, and here in a second, I'll switch this around and you can check her out. Open that. Axius Ultra up. Such a sick bow. What I'm checking right now is that box was beat the tar up, and there is some damage on the bow. So we'll let Hoyt know that, but looks pretty sweet. So we got an Axius Ultra. I'll do the full setup for y'all on when we double check his draw length. I think we're going to 28 or 29 on it, and I'll do the full setup. I'm getting a lot of questions about these RX4s and some RX3 questions, etc. And so what I'll do is I'm gonna shoot a video today for a few guys on Instagram that are asking questions. And then right now we've got this RX3 that Kate just tuned up. Ran knocking points. We're really, really liking it with the knocking points, but everybody keeps loading up their Hoyts with their rests, and you're running your arrows way too high. You've got to be on this second mark down here. The burger hole's a lot lower than you think it is. So I like to run them a little bit low, and it'll solve a lot of those knock high things or knock low tears that you're getting. So what I'm bringing y'all today is I'm tuning this Hoyt Axius Ultra. It's gonna be at like 65 or 60 pounds. I'll double check when we're completely done with it, but I've had at least 12 requests for Hoyt tuning help today on Instagram alone. So what I'm doing, I'm gonna show you how I set them up. I'll start with this bow, and this will be the same on any of them. There's a couple of tricks I've learned along the way that every video I get's the same thing. Everybody's dadgum arrow rests are too high, and your arrow's knocked up way too high. From what I've learned, and again, I'm not gonna say I'm the best at anything, but when it comes to tuning these, there's a few tricks that you need to know. We're running the QAD HDX Hoyt version on this. I'm a big fan of running the rest that are made to fit the bows. On the actual rest, which if you've got one of these new Axius, this doesn't line up exactly. I like the rest being all the way forward, which you cannot do on this bow apparently. So I'll mount the rest first, and he shoots a one second. He shoots a Easton Axis, so we'll tune to an Easton Axis today, and we'll fine tune it when he gets here. First thing I do is run the felt. If you have a shrink wrap, that's one of the best things you can do is run, after you put this on, run shrink wrap over the edges. We're completely out. We may send Kanan to get some. She can be running errands today. She seems thrilled. So we're setting up this bow, or this rest with that felt on it. And all you do is, I'll go ahead and at the end of this video, I'll show you how we put that shrink wrap on there to keep this felt on. If you've ever ran a QAD, you know it's their biggest issue is keeping the felt on the bow, on the rest. So simple stuff first. And then when Terry gets here, we'll fine tune it to exactly what he needs. But we're just gonna do these first few steps. I'm gonna show you a paper tune on it and how quickly these should tune up when you set the arrow in the right spot and the rest in the right spot. So the next step would be to make sure you've got your right draw length and poundage. I already know where his was, so I'll preset it to his draw length and poundage. Then if you have one of these, go ahead and mount your laser where the sight goes. If it fits right, hold on. Sometimes these Hoyt have a lot of paint or dip inside the screw holes, so you need to make sure that you either tap them out or just start super slow, because I've seen people strip a lot of these screws. Ignore that, because these screws aren't going to work. So we'll do it the old school way without a laser, but if you have a laser, that's the way to do it. I'll blame that on Cade. I think Cade lost those. So forget the laser. Start with an axis. I'm going to level the bow first. So we've got it level both ways, and then I'm gonna cut. I always run a brighter D-loop material, so if you're ever in a low light condition, you can find it. As long as the customer's okay with it. And we run 23D. We do not run 24D D-loop because we think 24D stretches way, way too much. This is more difficult to burn and get you an end on. However, it's stronger and it will not break and does not stretch as much. So I do a really slow process here just so that our burned in looks good. We don't want it looking crazy. So on this material, it's a super slow burn. It's a burn, 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 and then you smash it down. And be careful, because this stuff will burn the tar out of your fingers. So when you get I'm trying to zoom that in for y'all. Just a nice clean burn. I'll tie my D-loop, making sure that the knot's not going to be against the individual's face. I'll tie that first knot. Only reason I'm doing that is to get my center shot. Let me bring this around here really quick. I keep seeing people put their arrow up here on this second line. We do not want it right there. We want the top of it. You can feel the burger hole, right? It's below that line. So I'm gonna drop the rest down to where the arrow's in the center of it, below that line. I'll try to angle that up so you can see it, what I'm about to do. So we don't want the rest hitting the riser. We're just about there. And maybe not throw the Allen wrench at yourself, but get it tight. There you go. So on these Hoyts, I run low. The top of this is below the line. Sorry, we got a phone call in the middle of that video. So we have that lowered now. Now I'm gonna go ahead and drop my arrow down and get it leveled. I'm gonna tell you something, these little yellow plastic ones are excellent. We had some other brands. Let me grab one of those. These work really well too. I had another brand the other day that had the chunk because the levels weren't actually level on the plastic, so it was throwing all of our builds off. We're gonna run that on there. I want the bow level, arrow level. So the arrow is slightly knock high right now. We're gonna bring it back to dead level. So now that I've got the arrow level and the bow level, I'll take a marker. I'm gonna mark just below that knock for our knocking points. I'm gonna take the arrow off. I'm gonna slide that D loop down. Put that arrow right there on top, make sure that we're still level. And mark on top of the knock again. And I'll show y'all what that looks like. Maybe, if you can see it. You can see those marks right here. Trying to get them focused for you. You can see those two marks. Now it's where I'm gonna tie my knocking points. Now I'm gonna tie the knocking points. I'm not going to do a full detailed video in this video of how to tie the knocking points. I will post one later today with the better camera. This is just an iPhone camera, so I will make sure we have better lighting to show you every step of tying those knocking points. We're gonna do that right now. I'm gonna use some halo for that. You can use 3D or whatever else you want to. I like to run halo because it really sinks in and it's not as thick. I'm gonna tie top one on. And when I tie that first knot, I really sink it down. I'm gonna wrap over the top. Again. There's 4 wraps. I messed up because this isn't what I normally do. So the most important thing, I've seen people do like really nasty knots up here. Everything winds up looking terrible. You don't want big nasty knots. You want this super smooth, and you want it to wind up being tight. So that's not as tight as I wanted it, so I'm gonna redo it. Roll you out there. Go watch my peeps tying video, you'll kind of notice how I end serving, which after years of building bowstrings, so I'm gonna go this way, spinning. Make sure you keep it right on that mark or else you're gonna have to take them off because you're not dead even there. Again, I will shoot another video of how to tie knocking points with zoomed in more where you can see all that. There, now we got a really well tight knocking point. Super tight. Come in and burn. There we go. Now we're gonna do our bottom one, which again, I will show you all this a little bit later. I can already see the comments right now. go. I'm gonna really tighten knocking points in here. And what we'll do in just a little bit is we're gonna tie a D-loop on top of those, and we'll start getting ready to put his arrow on and start running it through paper to check our tune. So now, even though I tied that D-loop, I should have moved it above the knocking points. All I'm gonna do is untie it and retie it above and below, and that knocking point's not quite frayed where I want it. So don't ever do this with your string at this angle. Just wanted to burn that down a little bit better for super smooth. And just a trick here, you always want the knot, I'll show you this. Sorry, I'm not locking the way that tied on. You should be really particular as you're doing these things to your bow. You want to, like, how much attention you pay to your, and how good your job looks. It's kind of about the quality of the job you're doing on the bow. Under, oops, wrong way, over. So when I get that closer, I push it down on those knocking points and I tighten that top one really tight. When you're doing this, if you notice, my knot is going, hold on, my knot is going away from the face. So that's to the outside. And if you know, also look, the string here is coming at the bottom of the knot. It's not coming through the top. Sorry, let's focus on that. So it comes down, and when I do the bottom, it's gonna be the same thing. So knot on the bottom goes the opposite. Again, look at my D-loop tying video if you have any questions about that. Smash those up right there. I've seen people use pliers, but I think it damages your D-loop when you're just trying to tauten this knot to start off with. So I pull it really tight. And then I'm gonna flip it down, cut it. This is 23D. Again, I like it way better than that 24D that everybody's using that stretches a lot. I want to run 23D. So you've got to play with the burn a little bit more. I go pretty slow with it. May have cut that a little bit too far away. If you notice it, I'm trying not to catch it all the way on fire. I'm trying to burn down. So if it catches on fire, I stop and come back at it, just slow, 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 slow burns. Now I'm gonna smash it up against there. There we go. I'm gonna push down, push up, make sure those are really tight. Easton knocking point pliers. That nice and tight. So our next steps, we're going to run our rest through, and I'll check timing and everything when we start tuning the bow. We're going to run our rest through these. These are super easy to set up, and that's where we'll start with it for now. We'll check the timing on the rest, and I'll let you guys run these QADs. I often see you get this right here, the timing way below the mark. It should be pretty much dead even with the mark. You guys are breaking a lot of your QADs and saying you're having issues with them, but you're not really having, you're not realizing that you're tightening your QAD too much. So now we're headed down. I'm trying to make sure you know that there's no edits in this. You're gonna see Goofball setting up her camera and everything else, but I'm coming down here to do the paper tune right in front of where she's setting up her video, so ignore that. But But for now, I'm just getting the paper tuner and setting it up. I'm gonna do my best to allow y'all to see me run this through paper, and then I'll show you the tear. The paper right now already has tears. You can see that really jacked up one where the rest wasn't actuated all the way. But I'll shoot this really fast through paper. You don't have to shoot. I don't know why guys are shooting these at like 20 yards. It's silly. But hold on, I got a broke rest. I got a release, I gotta change the release. All right, I'm back with the non-broken release, but I bet we get a weird knot tear on this one. I can already see with the way it's on the rest. But I'm gonna shoot through there and I'll immediately show you the paper tear. So, just in case y'all are wondering, that was a tear that just happened. I'm not sure if we can show you I'm gonna flip the camera around. You can see the arrow. This is the hole. So we got a perfect bullet hole in about 10 minutes of tuning. So when you shoot those, when you set up those Hoyts, you have to make sure that you're not setting that rest up too high. Every picture I got today, the rest was way too high. That'll solve some of your issues. Start lower overall, and it'll help a lot. Also, make sure you're shooting the right spine bow. Check out my videos about selecting the right spine. But that's tuning a Hoyt Axius Ultra in less than 10 minutes.